joining us on the Climate U webinar today. My name's Tristan McCowan. I'm the Principal Investigator for the project. And if you are not a regular on our webinars, we've had a large number of public sharing events online, which have covered the different pieces of work that we've done as a project. And I'm really pleased to welcome you today to the webinar that will share the findings from our Brazilian partners. And for those people not familiar with the project, we're now in the final year, in the fourth year of the Climate U project, Transforming Universities for a Changing Climate. At the center of the project is participatory action research. So we're aiming to develop, explore, enhance the relationship between higher education and climate action and climate justice. And we see PAR as being at the center of that, developing actions in a cycle with reflection and engaging marginalized communities, not as objects or even beneficiaries, but as subjects or agents of the processes of change and researchers. It's a very challenging aim, but one that our 15 universities participating in the PAR have been grappling with for the last few years. And what we're going to hear about today are the experiences of 5 Brazilian universities scattered across the country. And I'm very pleased to welcome Luciana Brandley from the University of Passo Fundo, who is the country lead for Brazil and representing her university today. And I will introduce them in the order that they're going to be presenting. We have Sonia Schwendler from the Federal University of Paraná, who will be presenting after that. And I won't read out the titles because they're going to be telling you all about the work that their universities are carrying out. Moving up the country, we then have Amanda Heme in the University of São Paulo, who is representing Tercio Ambrisi today. It's great to have you with us, Amanda. Looking forward to your presentation. And Felipe Gomes, who is representing Tânia Brasileiro today, and will be telling us about the experiences of the Federal University of the west of Pará, up in the north of Brazil in the Amazon. So you can see we have a wonderful diversity of institutions of different types. We have a private university, we have a state university, we have 3 federal universities, different types of universities, and in different parts of the country. And as you'll see shortly, engaging with different kinds of work, looking at climate action within the university, in the campus, in the curriculum, and together with partners outside communities and so forth. I'm delighted also to welcome with us today Sunil Santa from Tata Institute for Social Sciences in Mumbai, who is going to be our respondent. So we're delighted that you've been able to join us to provide critical reflections on the presentations, particularly since the aim of our project is to generate cross-contextual, cross-cultural, cross-national, cross-institutional dialogue, exchange, and learning. And it's really important that we learn from the areas of difference and commonality and share these experiences. So it'll be great to have your reflections, Sunil, and all of you who are joining us today. So we look forward to your reactions, your questions, your comments afterwards. There are going to be presentations of about 10 minutes, followed by the response. So we should have quite a lot of time for Q&A and discussion afterwards. If you would like to make a comment or ask a question, you can do so in different ways. Either you can put it in the chat down below, or in the Q&A function, which you should see at the bottom of your screen, or you can simply raise a virtual hand when we come to the end of the presentation. So you could either put them through during or right at the end. It's up to you, and I'll call on people in turn. Very much looking forward to this. We've got a feast of fascinating ideas awaiting us. So without further ado, I will hand over to Luciana, who will be doing the first presentation for us today. Thanks, Luciana.
Thank you, Tristan. Let me share my screen. Okay, it's working? Okay. Well,
Yes.
Hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'd like to say hello to my colleagues from Brazil. And I'm very happy to have the opportunity to discuss our project and what we are doing in different universities here in different regions. So I started telling you about our project in University of Passo Fundo. Regarding our PAR, we launched a Green Office, academic hub for sustainability. Our university is located in south of Brazil, is a very important university and one of the most important universities in our region. We have nowadays around 12,000 students, and we started with our Green Office with the idea to generate student engagement in new learning opportunities based on existing range of practices related to sustainability and climate action in our university. Our idea was based on the protocol for participatory action research from Climate-U, and also we consider the model for Green Office implementation. This model is a model, international model that we have since 2010. The Green Office movement was created in Netherlands in that year, and it was laureated in 2015 with UNESCO Japan Prize on Education for Sustainable Development. Since then, new Green Offices were going to implemented in different countries, and we have nowadays 71 Green Offices around the world. And we are very proud that our Green Office is the first one in Latin America and also in Brazil. So that was our motivation to create a Green Office here in University of Passo Fundo. Important steps that we had to start our project. We created a logo and a selection of Green Office internship to have identity inside of our university. And also we could have the university management legitimized. So our university gave us all support to create this department of this sector inside the structure of the university. So this is the 4 points that I want to show you today. First, our team. Our team is based on students from graduate, undergraduate, and high school, and also some professors and staff. Some of the students are volunteers, others have internship. We have a space, is a big space and nice space. We have the idea to bring the students here and discuss with us our projects. And also this space is located in the technological park. So it's something neutral in terms of located in campus. One point that this is very important for us is the engagement of our stakeholders. So we have different stakeholders that help us to decide our activities. Civil society is involved, public and private sector, and also non-governmental organizations. This is something that gave us, since the beginning of the project, especially because of the idea of the PAR action. Considering our activities, first I want to show you is our projects that we supported in the last 2 years. It's around 14 projects. The nice thing here is that these projects were developed by professors from different courses and units, and also for the students. All these projects has the idea to contribute to climate action in terms of campus improvement, curriculum improvement, outreach, education for sustainability and climate action. And with this idea, we could bring different professors to the Green Office actions. Other thing that we organized last year was the scavenger hunt on SDGs, where we have 75 students involved and also professors during 1 week, making activities regarding SDGs, and it was very, very nice to teach and involve the students in these actions. And also we organized a lot in these years, a lot of workshops and lectures to high school, undergraduate and graduate students in different ways to achieve this public, and also with different thematics and topics regarding SDGs in climate action. Important to say now some impacts that our activities from Green Office are doing. The strengthened partnerships, the recognizing of importance of climate change education and the use of participatory methodologies in new projects developed within the university. Also, we have more academic members involved in climate-related research outreach, increased recognizing of the university efforts, and support to other institutions to implement similar initiatives. We have now 2 institutions in Brazil that are starting to implement their Green Office. That's something that is very happy. We are very happy with this. Of course, we have some challenges and obstacles. We can have some points here based on lack of time of several stakeholders to get involved in our activities, also staff of the university, and also the students. We have some difficulty sometimes in terms of their availability to participate on our activities. And in some point, we still need to be more recognized as a sector in the university. In terms of the potential of our initiative, we can see that we are influencing communication and dissemination strategies. We have channel for communication with students. We have the Instagram, and we have many videos, and our website that we are always publishing news and information important about sustainability. Also we assumed the responsibility for sustainability ranking, the Green Metric ranking in university. Last year we get a great result, and also we offer teaching support on these topics, and also the incentives in research and outreach, as I show you the 14 projects. So finalizing, I'd like to say that we know that there are many sustainability offices in universities, but our is very focused on engagement of students. that's the point that we could say as a positive point. And that's it for now. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Luciana, and so much to discuss there, but we'll save those discussions for later. Thank you very much. We're going to move a little way up Brazil's vast territory from the southernmost state, Rio Grande do Sul, 2 states up to Paraná. I'll hand over to Sonia for your presentation.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today and to share this presentation that is about our participatory action research, a climate emergency and its relation with education, law, public health, and environment. And this is our team. I'm the coordinator of the project from the graduate program of education. We have also teachers from the graduate program in law and in environment development, and also students who are from these areas, undergraduate and graduate students, and master and PhD students. Our project, the main aims of our project is to diagnose the perception of climate change related to vulnerable people, paying special attention to intersectionality issues, to discuss climate emergency, violation of rights, and experience of resistance. We also aim to learn from and share knowledge with communities on climate risks and vulnerability issues. And we are still working on the creation of training sections with community and modules at the university, which will be shared also with community. Our aim is to collectively build a climate justice concept and an environmental sustainability agenda with the group that we are working. We are working with the idea of co-production of knowledge based on Paulo Freire's pedagogy of the oppressed. And the main representative of that are working together in our project are from social movements and communities, especially the movement of those affected by dams, landless rural workers movement, the coastal communities, peasant women, and traditional communities like quilombolas and indigenous. This is where our project is located in Brazil, in Curitiba, at the Federal University of Paraná. And we are working especially with three areas with communities. In one is in the coastal area. It's in an MST encampment settlement. They are working with agroecological practices. Also in the Paranaguá Bay, with indigenous and coastal and riverside communities, and in the municipality of Lapa, with an agroecological settlement. And also there are strong organization of women and quilombolas communities there. We have worked with through conversation circulars and workshops with these communities inside the university and at the community level. And we started discussing with women through seminars to discuss women's resistance and how climate change have impacted their lives at their community, and how they resist jointly in terms of the violations that they feel in their daily life. Also, we have discussed climate justice and climate litigants to discuss how law can also help to protect human rights and protect also the rights of nature. We have all been doing this work together at the university, and invite the community to take part, representative of communities. We also discuss about, we have been discussing about the United Nations conference on climate change, and from the perspective of indigenous and social movements about climate change. We visit communities and have conversation circles with them to define also our action together with them, and to listen to them about how they feel this impact and how they resist through it. Once it's very important that we can recognize that the adoption of the agroforestry in the community has been seen as a way of reorganize meanings for them and ontologies. And also they discussed about the importance of the expansion of agroecology experience, and which is related to the recognition of the work developed by peasants and farmers and women inside these communities. Also, they highlight the importance of public resources for this, and the partnership with universities. That is something that we are starting to develop with the community at the community level and at the university level. Another important issue that we are discussing with the communities is it's relating to food production for schools, and also how we can support schools who are working, or who are, for them to include the issue of climate change in their curriculum. This is at the community level, at the countryside education in settlement school, and at the coastal community schools, because not all communities that they have schools with them that we are working. What is important that we could see with our work with communities is that how the climate injustice is also related with all other injustice, related also with non-access to land, to territory, and also a common point that they mention, the representatives of social movements, is the lack of public policies that support the communities, how they feel abandoned by the state, and also how it's important for them have this support from the university in terms of partnership to share knowledge, and for research to be done related to also to their needs. That is also that we are started to do with these groups. Another important issue that it's important what indigenous women bring about the preservation of the forest, and that this is something important for all people, not just indigenous people, and how they feel the importance of to support also, and how they recognize women as the guardians of traditional seeds, and how they have been impacted in the way that they produce and on their territories, and how they have been left out in the negotiation about climate issue, and how this is important for them to take part. Another issue that it's very important that we could document about the narratives of indigenous coastal communities, quilombolas, and rural women, is exactly the protagonism they have in terms of agroecology, and also how they care about the non-human and human nature, and also about the work that have been done to reduce the impacts. We are documenting all this, and this is part of the production of knowledge that we think that is very important in this to bring inside the university. We are doing this in the way too that we are developing university modules that for graduate students and also for undergraduate students that we are taking to the communities to learn through the educators that are community representatives. And it has been very important to see how women have developing a feminist pedagogy of life care through the way that they have organized this work in terms of the protection of nature, but also the care of human beings, the way that they understand agroecology. And this is also important to see how they are developing this feminist and are defending also a feminist peasant agriculture, saying that it's important to have climate justice also need to be related to gender justice and other social justices. Also, something is very important, how they think this relation with food. I would like just to share here one idea that Quilombola women said about this, that when they say that they won't be fine if their community is eating well, while other Quilombola communities are starving. And especially because they are surrounded by monoculture. And when they are using agroecology, they can see this as a way to protect also the nation. I think this is a very strong idea that we have been developed. We are working from this perspective of women, of they struggle, the way that they are developing also a feminist peasant organization.
Sorry, Sonia, to interrupt. Just
yes, I'm
remind you of
finishing now.
time.
Okay, and just to say that women's farmings are in this way developing a feminist epistemology, and this have been very important for us to learn from this and to bring this to the university level. And this is also very related to this idea of knowledge, learning from the experience that they are developing and sharing this experience in different levels at the university. This is what I would like to share today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much for that, Sonia. And we're moving now from engagement with rural communities to the largest urban area in Brazil. In fact, one of the largest urban areas in the world, São Paulo. So hand over to Amanda Rebem, who's going to take us through the work there. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you very much, Tristan, for the introduction and also for the opportunity. So hello, everyone. My name is Amanda, as Tristan already introduced me. I am a postdoctoral at the University of São Paulo under the supervision of Professor Tércio Ambrizzi, who is the coordinator of this project in São Paulo. Professor Tércio, unfortunately, will not be able to join us today because he had a personal issue, but I will be here to represent him. So I will talk today about how the University of São Paulo inserts itself in the context of Climate-EU project. So we have this project, the Interdisciplinary Participatory Action Research on Climate Change at the University of São Paulo, that I will talk now. Next, please. And so the initiatives at the University of São Paulo started with a call for the registration of projects that promote the PAR activities, addressing issues related to the climate justice. In this context, we were able to select 9 projects within the seven institutions that are represented in the right in this slide. So just to give you a contextualization, we have institutions like the Energy Institution, Engineering School, the School of Arts, Science and Humanities, Faculty of Education, Faculty of Economy, Administration, and Accounting, among others. So this just gives a flavor of the interdisciplinary context of our project at the University of São Paulo. We also can see in this map where São Paulo is located and where the actions take place. So it was all around the state of São Paulo that we have the zoom in the right panel of the map. And also some projects focus on specific municipalities that are highlighted in the bottom of this figure. And I will talk a little bit about some of them in the next slides. So the first one I will talk about is just to give some contextualization of the actions we take in São Paulo, is this project that involved the vulnerability to landslides in a determined municipality of São Paulo, which is prone to landslides due to the very hard or very intense precipitations. So they work with this, they developed a methodology to understand which parts of the city or this municipality will be more vulnerable in the climate change context, even in the first for the actual, for the present, the current climate, and also for the future climate under climate change. So they also developed a website where they turn available all this information they generate and lots of other contents for education purpose and also to prevent disasters regarding this topic. Next slide, please. And another project is a reunion of all the researchers that focus on climate change in all the universities. So they formed this web of researchers in climate change for articulate and also disseminate the activities and promote activities on climate change and talk not only within the university, but also to dialogue with the external community, with the social, with the civil society, with the politicians. So it's a very large project. Next slide, please. And here I have the examples of 2 other projects. One is related to the bees and society, or which means they use the bioindicators to engage the society, to teach them about the climate change. And they involved here students from different schools in São Paulo and the university, tourists, because they are putting lots of this educational material along the trails in São Paulo, and also farmers. So they are increasing the farmers, also increasing like the participants of the farmers and making them part of the solution, because sometimes they are criminalized because agriculture have an important impact for the climate. And then they bring them together saying, look, you can use the bees for increasing your production, but then you have to reduce the use of the poisons that you put in your farm. So this is a win-win way, and it's a very interesting approach to talk about the climate change and climate justice. So other project is about created actually a board game about climate change. And we can see here in the right a representation of this game, which is very interesting. So this game is applied all around Brazil, actually, for teaching in the schools, and it's available for downloading. Everybody can use it and apply for students, for instance, for teaching climate change. Next, please. Another example is regarding the estimative of the greenhouse gases inside one of the institutions of the University of São Paulo. So they here they engage not only the students, but also the staff, the cleaning staff of the university. So they start separating the solid waste, the domestic solid waste generated for the university, and then they were able to estimate the emissions. And not only that, they also engaged with the recycle union of that city. And here I bring this table just to give you an idea that they are also helping to increase the income for those people who works on this recycle union. So that was very applied project in this context. And they also have some actions for teaching the students in the university about the climate change, like conscientizing people about their consumption, to reduce the waste of the energy and water, among others. Next, please. And we also had other kind of projects that were more focused on education. So for instance, this is one example, and where it was created an update course on climate change for high school teachers of the state of São Paulo. So they had like 230 positions, the people that could attend, but many other people wrote to us because we helped them to divulgate through the incline group. So we helped divulgate this course, and then people start writing to us and asking, look, I am not from São Paulo, can I participate? So this shows us that unfortunately they couldn't, because it was restricted to this state of São Paulo by some logistic and other issues. But it was interesting to see that people from other states in Brazil were also interested in having this update course, and this shows us another opportunities. And the next one, so I will just show now next please. Yeah, the last example I am bringing here, it's about this is the climate, it's a project inside other project, which is the education for the Vale do Ribeira, and where they develop this climate detective, engaging the students for a poor region, a poor school in the climate justice. So they develop lots of activities. They have this notebook that you can see here. It's Detetive Climático with the brown cover, where they can collect. The students go to the communities collecting information about the climate. And this is a very interesting approach too. The next one, please. So with the learnings and challenges, they merge at the University of São Paulo. This was our feeling when they read the reports from the collaborators from the projects. So there were at least 4 major points or topics that merge. So they say that they highlight the importance of listening to the comments and the knowledge of the external community to adjust the content of their projects. And also they were able to see that they need to learn and develop new methodologies for better project management, and also for better engage people from outside the university, and also to keep their team motivated. And lots of them also reported they had to make a step back in their projects, which leads to the next slide, please. To lots of new opportunities, because what we got from this is that when we are challenged, we are learning, and vice versa. And then all these challenges and learnings leads us to develop new opportunities. So just highlighting two of them, the group says that as opportunity, they see the development of the research with the team close to the stakeholders, which helps to a better understanding of both parties and better improvement and leading of the projects. They also mentioned the importance of continuing the actions within the internal and external community. And please, the next one. In this context, they tell us about the future directions that they are planning for their projects. And here I will just have to mention that from those projects, at least 6 of them are planning to continue their activities and expanding their activities in the next semester. So I just list them here. I will not go through one by one, but we can discuss more things further. Next one. I think with that, I will finish these presentations just to give a broad overview of our activities at the University of São Paulo. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, thank you, Amanda. And we've had 3. We have 2 of our presentations left, and we're now crossing the vast territory of Brazil right the way up to the Amazon region, where we have 2 universities, the first of which is the Federal University of Pará in Belém, and I will hand over to Salomão, who's going to present on that.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk with you. I'm now in the Amapá state, and I was in an extractivist reserve, but the energy went out and I need to come to another place to participate here with you. That's the Amazon region reality. We are facing now in Brazil very hard times with the conservative people and the rights trying to confiscate the rights of the indigenous people, people from the MST, or most strong social movement, rural social movement, and Amazon region is always in conflict. Conflicts for the land, conflicts from the rivers and the waters, and conflicts for the mining, the forest. And it has to be our participatory action research here in Federal University of Pará. Since we integrated to Climate EU Network, Research International, we are trying to create territorial collectives of governance as an instrument for formation the people, at the same time production of the knowledge and intervention with the action for climate justice here in our territories. So the COGTERs, as we call collective territorial governance collectives, is an organization, a collective that we trying to join professors and students from the university with leaderships from the social movements of our Amazon peoples, like indigenous people, people who lives close of the rivers, quilombolas, peasants, and also people from the governmental and non-governmental organization. So together we can mobilize the people, the community to be more strong to face against the big enterprise groups that we have here, a great agricultural big groups and enterprise or mining groups and enterprise and water groups, right? And enterprise. So those enterprises destroy the organization of the communities, the way that they live, that they work, right, together. So the traditional knowledge, so the coquetters is an instrument that we can be together to confront with these impacts of this big enterprise in the environmental and in climate also. So here in UFPR, we are organizing 2 coquetters. One is in the Tocantins, Amazon. We join leaderships from 6 municipalities that are located close to the Tocantins River, and now is facing critical environmental impacts from this waterway enterprise. The second one we call interaction coquetters that we join quilombolas, people with indigenous people that are facing also the impacts of the very big mining enterprise or agricultural enterprise, and it changing the way, the traditional way of life that they have for 1,000 years, I guess. And we have also a qualitative study in Capim Island, in the municipality of Abaetetuba. So the Cargill enterprise is trying to create a very porto in this community, and it could, and it threatened the lives where they fish, where they product agricultural rich, right, collectively. So that's what we have been with our participatory action research. In the impacts of this research, we have getting the university more engaged with the social movement, the social reality, and the conflicts that we face here in the Amazon. In our universities needs to be on time, linked to those problems. That's our problems. The second one, that we can include these environmental issues or climate change or climate justice in the curriculum of our undergraduate or graduate courses at the university. That's the second impact. We also are increasing many projects for extension, for formation, the professionals or the community included this agenda, right? That's very important agenda in our curriculum and in the formation of teachers that work in the basic education also. But I guess the most important impact is that the people in their own community are becoming more powerful, strong to organizing themselves, to dialogue with the state, with the enterprise, with the people who are put the territory in dangers. For me, that is the most important impact that we have getting with this research. So I'll receive the poem now to sharing what we are facing in the Amazon and what our research can provoke in ourselves. The powerful are indifferent. The state conniving. Social movements resist. In the universe, what does it do with climate change? With the environmental conflicts and climate change, indigenous people who live on the rivers, quilombolas, extractivists, peasants, they have threatened their cultural heritage and their leaderships. Their territories, memories, and way of production in its existence, their knowledge, values, and good living with nature. Climate justice only with common environmental responsibility, historical, however differentiated, with public budget for policy and actions, and upstream the sustainability of life, human and non-human, with the production of the diverse and collective existence. That's what our research talks about, put in place. Right? We need to strong the diversity of the people, the diversity of the life, the complexity of the Amazon forest, the lives on the rivers, the work with the land. That's why our research talks about. Thank you very much, Tristan. That's what I had to share with you.
Thank you so much, Salomão. Fantastic. And as we move towards our final presentation, do remember that you can, if you have questions or comments, please do put them into either the chat function or the Q&A function at any time, and we'll pick it up when we move to the discussion. We're going now traveling up the Amazon to Santarém, and Luis Alipio will take us through the final presentation.
Okay, just testing my microphone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, good. So thanks a lot. We just would like to thank you very much to have this opportunity to share our experience on participatory action research undertaken at the Federal University of Western Pará, coordinated by Dr. Tânia Brasileiro and me. Dr. Tânia Brasileiro is the leadership of our Praxis Group research group at UFOPA. So I'm going to show you where we are talking from in the North region in the Pará state in Brazil. Okay, so we have some questions about where do we want to change the course and what change we'd like to see. So about these questions, we start our research based on participatory action research. And there is a specific point here in our reality. We not applied the PAR tool in the university, but we researched in a small community called Vila do Anã Village. Anã Village, it's a small community along the Arapiuns River. It's far from Santarém, 4 hours traveling by boat. Just to have an idea about this community, just show you that it has 100 families. Okay, there is a garden, elementary, and high school. The population, they survive using extractive reserve. It's protected under protection law. Social productive activities, ecotourism, permanent culture practice, and we have some organizations, for example, Turiarte, forestry, ecotourism, and crafts, and forestry artisans. Now, I just would like to explain to you about the theme of our project. We are studying about ecological and circular economy. What is this? Just to have a clear idea about the ecological and circular bioeconomy, we have a design here. In the first, we have a bee honey production, and we have a tourism community-based crafts and captive fish farming. So we call this production innovative and social productive chain. And we understand that the university, with the education, knowledge production, outreach, research, campus operation, can impact the ISPC, okay, as I told you, innovative, social, productive, okay, and it can influence, it can generate income for the community, and in doing so, we make the forest stand. And if we make the forest stand, we influence the climate change mitigation. We change to maintain the climate change reduction, okay? So now I'm going to tell you about some impacts that we find during this research. The first one is stakeholder involvement. We understand that when we bring a federal university, ICMBio, it's a federal institution from Brazil, and we have some groups from the forestry. It's important to consider that it was a very different way to start this. Another impact number 2 is the way we do research. The way we do research. What's the impact about this? The impact is we research with people, not about the pupil, but with the collaboration, which it was necessary to explain the PAR process to the community. We asked the license to start this research in this community, and it was very important to get the involvement of the pupil. So here we have some pictures of making the citizen questionnaire just to have a diagnosis of this community. Another impact number 3, the knowledge production. The knowledge production, we have a different methodology to listen and to provoke the pupil to share their knowledge about the forestry, about their life. How they understand the climate change in their reality. So another one is mandala knowledge. Mandala knowledge is a technique that we use with the communities, and they built this this mandala just talking about their reality. Media active and community communication. It was another impact, production knowledge. We understand that communication is the base of everything. So the population, the students involved in this project, they made an Instagram page at Vila do Anã _Amazônia to share the information about their village. And we had effective maps. We just would like to know how is the relation with the people that live there with their territory. What's the relation, what are the feeling that they have about this place where they live. Another impact number 4 is the partnership. The partnership was very important. And the community, the school, and the other sectors, they invited our research group to make a partnership, helping them in a seminar discussion about environmental citizenship at Nossa Senhora de Fátima School. Another one was the presence of the university at the community. It was possible to have the pro-rector, outreach pro-rector from the university at the community, just to listen and just to see what the community has and what they can help in this community far from the UFOPA. Okay. Impact number 5, relieving epistemic injustice. So we understand that when they produce knowledge, it was necessary to bring this pupil to the university auditorium, where sometimes we have only doctors, we have only professors sharing their knowledge, and we invited the community to come to this place and to share their knowledge with us. So sharing the knowledge with the community, they produce knowledge, and it's necessary to know, the community know what they are producing. So it was a fantastic experience where they can change with the people that live there about honey production, about fish farming, about art crafts, about other productives that they do. Okay, impact number 6, influences, behavior, attitude, practice. It was another impact. So the community, the own community people, they are now trying to make the sustainability square building, okay, by themselves with their own resources. And to finish my presentation, we have some impacts about the influence, strengthening our production chains and the recognition as a way to keep the forest standing. One of the scholarships of this community, okay, was approved in the forest engineer undergraduate course at UFOPA. Another impacts, climate change and extension curriculum at IESPES. IESPES is a private university that they are now with the outreach program. Amazon Climate Network. It's a network that UFOPA participates. Almost finished there. Okay, another one, 2 articles to be published about PAR experience. Another 1 doctorate research of Adriani in conclusion about environmental science at FOPA. 1 master research of Luciandro at post-graduation program, and the 1 undergraduate research of Leon Carvalho in the education computer. Okay, thank you very much. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you very much.
Thanks for keeping to time, Melipio. Great. So we've had a really rich selection of different contexts, different communities, and different approaches to the work across the country. Very much looking forward to Sunil's reactions. Over to you.
Thanks, Tristan, and all the presenters for a wonderful presentation. Very enriching case studies and experiences from the grassroots. Thank you for that. It was a great learning opportunity for me. And when I go through the presentation, starting from Luciana to Sonia to the others, I see the interconnect and the contextual specificities also between the various context of practice. So when you see from the first presentation where a global model that is based in Netherlands was then contextualized in the particular context, then if you see that there are various aspects in terms of creativity, participation, legitimation, etc. But I was more concerned with this particular aspect that perhaps even in the question answer session, this would come, is that across all these projects, what were the values guiding our interventions? So when Professor Saloma had shared about the rights of indigenous people and what is happening in contemporary society, or what Professor Lewis was trying to share, here we could see that the rights specifically became an important aspect, or what Sonia was trying to say, ethics of care becomes an important component in an intersectional context. So what are these diverse values that interface in the global scenario when different universities are coming together and moving towards participatory action research? Now, at the same time, when we talk about participatory action research, we are also hinting at transforming current processes and structures. And are we then, and it is also, we could see that we are moving from a traditional or an very traditional forms of participatory action research to emergent and modern forms of action research. So they necessarily may not be transformative in terms of structures, but also in terms of processes. But are we also getting into a trap of instrumental rationality and instrumentation here by using certain tools that may be part of participatory methodologies, but they may not be transformative in its true nature? That is only for reflection. I could see various kinds of similarities between what we see in India in terms of addressing vulnerability context, intersectionality, indigeneity, rights and justice, etc. Even we are trying to work with board games with children. So these are some of the aspects, but to critically reflect, and due to the concern of time as well, let me just bring out 7 points for our collective reflection. One is, there is a contextual specificity of our practice. And how do we then draw insights from each of these diverse practice scenarios? That is my first point. More critical is that we are still very anthropocentric or human-centric in our approach, but and also technocentric. Our methodologies are largely moving towards a technocentric approach. So what happens to the non-humans, to the in a post-human world? What will be the scenario for participatory action research? This is a question that I am also reflecting upon. And some insights what Amanda shared about bees and society may be a pathway ahead. Or the firefly, what Luis had shared last about the firefly, that might be another way of looking at it. Or the food security slide that Sonia had shared, where the roots, the tubers, etc. were showing. But do they have their voice of their own? And can we bring that also into action research is a point that I would like to bring in. Now, yet another aspect is that what emerges at the local, what is the interface at the local when we are bringing lot of what we call concepts and terminologies of practice into the local. For example, agroecology, ethics of care, intersectionality, participation, justice, circular economy. And we are taking it to some spaces, be it children in schools, be it students in our classrooms, be it farmers and indigenous communities in their respective villages. We are bringing all these terminologies that have its origin somewhere else in particular context. We are borrowing it and implementing it in practice with the belief that it is also part of participatory action research. So what is the interface that is emerging out of it? What is co-production of knowledge here? Whose knowledge again becomes dominant? Perhaps we need to reflect upon that. Yet another important question for ClimateU in general is, based on these presentations and more presentations from other partners, how do we theorize from these participatory action research projects? How do we collaborate and co-produce new forms of knowledge is something that we could look into. Yet, to what I said earlier, just saying that again, is that how do we avoid participatory methodologies becoming tools for instrumental reason and action? So whether the boards that we develop or certain project that certain circular conversations or whatever we are trying to develop, are they just becoming a tool for getting views and approaches, or how is it connected more towards a reflective practice is something that we need to look at. There are various important aspects that we need to deconstruct here, be it climate justice, be it sustainability, be it indigenous in forms of indigenous communities or indigenous knowledge, be it participation itself, and old and new forms of action research. And then that is also connected to my last point, is that how do these micro level actions shape global climate justice movements? That is, how do our micro level actions shape global climate justice movements? Is there a shift in the hegemony from the global north to global south when we are doing these projects? Or are we trying to address climate justice through the knowledge frames and concepts produced in the north? So these are some of the aspects that I would again ask for our collective reflection. But thank you for a wonderful sharing of your experiences and ideas. I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunil. Fantastic. And I wrote down 7 questions there. I don't think I even got all of them. So there's a huge amount there. And I think some of those questions are really ones for the project as a whole, aren't they? Absolutely crucial for all of our context. Others might be more specific to our Brazilian colleagues. And we can pose some of them directly to you, but I will just, because we only have a little more than 10 minutes to go, I'll just invite any of the other people we have on the webinar in the audience to see if you'd like to ask a question first. So this is an invitation for anyone who's attending to raise a virtual hand or to put a question in the chat. We also have some questions from Luisa Lipio in the Q&A tab, which would be interesting to address. So please do raise a virtual hand if you would like to ask a question, any of our participants. But perhaps while we're waiting for that, I will turn to one of the questions that Sunil posed, and that's, can the tools of participatory action research be a trap and bring us into instrumentalization, instrumental reason, perhaps technocracy? Are there any dangers in the methodology of participatory action research or similar methodologies that we might get too caught up in some of these procedures that may end up more subtly trapping us? Do correct me, Sunil, if that doesn't represent your question correctly, but I think a really interesting one, thinking about what the spirit of something like PAR is and then the sets of procedures and tools that go with it, and whether the latter can support the former. Would anyone like to make a response to that about how we go about action research, participatory research, and PAR? Any responses to that question?
I think that in our reality, we were not make the survey or the interview with the pupil from the university. And when we have this methodology applying the community, it was a very good impression for us, the participation of some part of the community, and to give the voice for this pupil. I do not agree it's a trap, but it can be dangerous if we do not conduct it in a very participatory way. I think that when we give the pupil the possibility to decide, to express themselves, we need it. It can change our behavior as researchers from the university. And I think that we need to change, to listen more, to pay attention more in the population. In our reality, it's a community that face many problems, as deforestation, okay, as mining, mercury contamination, okay. In the Amazon, we have a lot of kinds of challenges. But I think that the participatory action research is it's a good way, okay, to apply it. And it is not only possible to understand that people from the human area and social area, as it was exclusive for these scientists, it's necessary to involve other knowledge area. That's what I want to tell you, to say. It's necessary to have the interdisciplinarity with the hard science, okay, from people, from the engineering and the other sides. That's all.
Thanks, Solomon. You're on mute, Solomon.
I guess I want to reinforce that we are not talking only about research. That's what was my point. Of course, we are talking to participatory action research. But I guess we need to understand that we can do it at the same time, to forming the people, to produce knowledge with the research, and to action to transform the reality. Maybe it is to understand the participatory action research in a relational way that is more than only doing research. The situation now requires that we do all these things at the same time. The role of the university cannot be only produce knowledge, is to forming the people and to organize professors and students for action, to intervene in the reality, to transform the reality. The so difficult and hard times that we face. And we cannot change the reality alone, university alone, the community alone, the state alone, all together. That's why the participatory action research is so strong, because it puts all in contact together, dialoguing, forming ourselves, not them. Production, knowledge, scientific knowledge and non-scientific knowledge, but all together organizing themselves for action, for interventions. In other ways, it's impossible to transform the reality. And that's my point, because the participatory action research is crucial for all these things happen together at the same time. That's my point.
Thanks, Salomon. Luciana.
In terms of our experience, the participatory research was very important because we started our Green Office joining the idea of the Green Office movement with the participatory research. So the Green Office movement never thought about this. So the idea to bring the students and the other stakeholders to give the way to go or to support the activities and give ideas for the activities was the new thing. Inclusive, we participated in a workshop for the movement, Green Office movement, showing this approach here. So this is something that very different that they used to do. But of course, we had some difficulties to engage students because, and also the local community, because they don't have enough time sometimes, and they don't have the mentality to work in this way. But at the end, I think we could have some progress in terms of this. And I think, as Salomon said, is very important, the participatory research. Okay.
Thank you. And as I pass the mic over to Sonia. Sonia, would you mind also answering another specific question that came in the Q&A from Lendua, which is, what is Quilombola?
Yeah, quilombolas are Maron communities, and they are not just those that who escaped from slavery, but they are those who are developed a different culture, a culture related to their ancestrality, a culture related to the way they produce food, to relate the religion. And I think it's, and they are also fighting against discrimination nowadays in Brazil about racism, for example. And we can say that it's very important also listening how women inside different social movements and inside quilombolas and inside indigenous communities and rural communities, how they are changing and how they are bringing some issues that even in their communities, they were not looking at this. Because, and this is related to climate change, because they say that they didn't discuss this as climate change, but they were doing the same issue that we are saying about climate change. And I think this is important for us to bring this perspective from social movement and from different people, from to bring all the diversity that we have in Brazil, for instance, and in the world, that about how they feel the impact and how they resist to this. And when we listen, especially to women, we have this perception of what is this ethic of care, that care is this care about the nature and the human nature and the non-human nature. And this is very important when they say that we need to work with agroecology, but we need also to transform the relationships inside the communities. Otherwise, if we don't change it, then we need to change universities, the knowledge that is very important. And just to finish, to say that when we listening to them, we bring a different perspective to the university. We have many people at my university working with climate change issues, but many projects, they don't listen to the communities, the perspective of the communities. And I think this is something very important that we can do through this project, through participatory research.
Thanks, Sonia. That's a very strong message. In the very short time that remains, I wonder if we could just go around and have a really quick reflection from each of the five of you, maybe just 30 seconds. And this is to pick up on another point that Sunil made, which is how do these micro level actions shape climate justice movements? So thinking from the particular to the more general, from the micro level of communities and institutions to the national and international level. And particularly, and it's hard to ignore the fact that Brazil's it has gone through a major political shift in terms of government. So in the context of that, how do you see the relationship between what you're doing in your universities and the broader movement for climate justice, environmental justice, and social justice? So perhaps just a very quick reflection from each of you on how you see the scenario. Would anyone like to kick us off?
I think that when we discuss about the climate change and we bring together the justice climate and we bring together the environmental education, and we are now in another scenario in the federal government. And now in 2025, there will be COP30 in Belém, Pará. So we need to be prepared for these events. And the people that live here, especially in the Amazon and the other region, of course, now that we have a federal government and we have, for example, some decision makers that were from the social movement and they are recognized by their fight for the environmental, it's necessary to prepare the people. I think that we are just preparing just to make an education to charge the government that they can do what they promised. For example, now that we have in another scenario, I think that we have we have a special education role in this process.
Thank you. Anyone like to go next?
I can.
Final
go.
comment, brief comment? Luciana.
Okay, I could say 3 points. First, empowering students, empower this generation, capacity building, and also being as an example for other universities in Brazil and outside of Brazil to implement actions like that, this one as Green Office. I think that's the way we can impact more and more than in local communities.
Thank you, Luciana.
Can I go
Amanda?
next?
Please.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think from São Paulo, my perspective is that the groups are using lots of education. That's a common point among all the 9 groups. So through the education, similarly to what Luciana just told us, they are trying to change the micro environment and expanding these actions about the climate change and climate justice to a macro level. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks. Sonia, you're on mute.
I would like to continue on this reflection. I think one thing is very important is about this epistemic injustice and how this project can help, and we work with participatory action research, how we can help through education, but education, this perspective that Paulo Freire is talking about, is about a pedagogy that is developed with people, and to bring their knowledge and to enhance their knowledge as well. I think they have the right to learn what they don't have in other opportunities, and I think the university can help in this process. And then I think we can contribute with this issue of recognize their knowledge and their epistemologies. They also are helping to develop when we look at different social movements, different communities. And I think we can have work in this epistemic justice in this way.
Thanks, Sonia. And finally, Solomon.
When I heard about the education to transform the reality, I always think that the capitalism system also use the education as a strategy to strong the hegemony, powerful situation that we have. That's interesting because they have clear the importance of the school, the teachers, the foreign teachers, and the curriculum for to show how this injustice system are the best that we could have. So we need to understand that education is always in dispute, in conflict. And as we can use education to the counter-hegemonic issues, the powerful people are using education to maintain the status quo, the reality, the environmental impacts, the climate change, and convincing the people that, for example, the agro enterprise is the best what we have in economy and production. So we have so many work to do, so many research to make and to organize the people to understand these contradictions. That's my points.
Thank you very much, Solomon, and to all of our speakers for the very rich examples and illustrations reporting on the work, but also their reflections more broadly on these very difficult and challenging, but crucial questions for the future of humanity. Thank you all for Sunil for your very insightful and provocative comments. And I think you've left us with questions which we need to think about over for the rest of the project and beyond. Thank you very much. And also to Charlotte Nussey for providing the coordination behind the scenes on today's event. For those people who are not familiar with ClimateU, I have put the link to the website in the chat. You will find there a number of working papers and other publications of the project. You can find out more about what our Brazilian teams and other partners around the world are doing. Also, you'll see there our conference and other events. So we're having a conference in London in October. The call for submissions is still open. We've extended it until a week on Friday. So if you are interested in putting in a submission for our conference on higher education and the climate crisis, you still have time to do that. You can find the details on our events page. Otherwise, we very much look forward to seeing you at our future events. Do stay involved in the project. Thank you very much again.
See you all soon, I hope.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
You.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, see you.